Okay, so innovation is reshaping road transport. Our panel is going to explore how AI, telematics, and integrated supply chains and data-driven logistics are boosting efficiency and sustainability. A combination of industry practitioners and technology partners will discuss real-world applications and how to navigate the challenges of integrating new technologies into existing operations. So I'd like to start with the operator on the panel, which is Helen. Wincanton have a dedicated transport management system. What is IQ and how does it work?
Great. Afternoon, everyone. IQ is Wincanton's digital transport platform, which has been designed to offer customers a full transport outsource, whether that be on core fleet, so 3PL operations, or working with our subcontraction partners with a 4PL solution. So 4 key points to IQ. So the first one really is about optimization. And the speakers previously have spoken a lot about optimization. And that, in very simple terms, is about us getting our vehicles fuller to operate less miles to do the same work, but more importantly, to reduce empty miles whilst achieving our customers' proposition, the customer proposition at lowest cost. Visibility is a really big part of that. So visibility on day. So how's my operation running? Am I on time today? Is today a good day? Do I need to do something on the fly? But probably more importantly, and you touched on it this morning, about data is great, but actually it's insight that we want. So it's about how we take that data and play insight back to our customers to do things even better next time. And at Wincanton, we talk about a transport community. So that's about all the resources that are under our control, whether our own assets or our subcontraction partners, and about driving collaboration through all of those assets and with those partners. I think we've talked about collaboration as long as I've been in the industry, which is more years than I care to mention, and we're just not very good at it. So we're using the technology and the 3PL relationships to foster and facilitate some of those relationships and start to drive better collaborative projects. I think the fourth point is we're all here to talk about technology, but the other really important part about IQ is the people. So the people to develop the systems, the people to operate the systems, and to keep that development going and start to build in additional functionalities such as AI. So that's IQ in a nutshell.
Brilliant, thank you. So Raghunath, more broadly, how is technology enabling operation managers and effectively oversee the optimization of full fleets?
Yeah. So I will take these things in 3 different parts, as I mentioned in my earlier speech as well, that connectivity, data, and AI, both of them in combination of the technology plays a role. Let's take her example, that we are looking for an optimization overall supply chain over there. But let's take very specific, simple things that we do operate from point A to point B, and our telematics really tracks the vehicles, what is happening. But when the driver just drops off for an offloading activity, and if certain things are not planned, it is taking longer time, then how do these all fantastic systems, algorithms know what is happening? Because that creates a gap. And that's how connectivity is important. And in Webfleet, we are also having a work app, which is a mobile device app where drivers are getting down from the vehicle, so they are not disconnected. They can keep updating their status, uploading to this one. So that's how I feel that in the entire ecosystem, if we really need to bring value and optimization, every step of the activity should be tracked, digitalized, and we have a capability to capture this data processing in the system. Now, second part is that with a practical example, let me explain how AI is coming into this thing. We talked about the connectivity, digitalization, gathering the data, and processing the data. But if you think of the simple video telematics, or every dash cam that we provide today, first we apply the AI on the edge because we receive tons of events on the ground, but that's not really relevant for our customers. So first AI filters those events on the edge that not even transmitted back to the server. Secondly, when we receive 20 events at the back end, it's a lot of data, but what is relevant for the fleet operators, what is relevant for the fleet managers to really make it safer? Maybe 5 activities. And that's how, again, data and AI plays a critical role to prioritize, put in weightage, that what is exactly meant for that business, what I really want in this trip to avoid. And that's how it is combination of it. So I believe that's how technology is really playing a critical role in this entire ecosystem as the technology is maturing, starting from connectivity, digitalization, data processing, and also now coming back with a lot of AI technologies, bringing the overall value together. But of course, we need to understand also, and I think Adrian touched about this one, AI literacy or the data literacy. It is very important for everyone to understand where to invest and which technologies are going to bring the most of the ROI to your business. And that's the role of the business from the AI literacy, the role of the technology providers to educate the entire system properly so that everybody can function in a collaborative fashion and bring the technology forward.
Perfect, thank you. I think that leads on well to the next question, which, Adrian, where would you say AI sits within a business, especially one with multi-departments?
Yeah.
Is it an IT issue? Is it a procurement issue? Does it sit with accounts?
Yeah, it's a great question, Aaron. And a lot of customers do struggle with that when they're starting off on their AI journey. For me, AI is a board-level discussion first and foremost, because it affects the whole business. And the business itself needs to set the vision. Because AI isn't just there to optimize processes and what you have today. It can give you real competitive advantage. So for me, the AI is a fundamental, first and foremost, a board-level conversation. But it does impact the whole organization, as you implied, Aaron. So the IT teams have to be involved. It's a team sport. So IT will, once the decision and the strategy has been defined at high level and their input has been taken, they need to bring it to life. They need to make the strategy. They need to understand the data we talked about. They need to bring together the understanding of what the technology and the strategy is going to be. But also finance will play a key role here as well. Because what was interesting is one of the reasons we've got limited problems with the budget. For me, finance is really important to get involved in that because you've got to have a compelling ROI for any investment you do, and AI is no different. And Helen touched on it about the people. The whole piece here with AI is it can be daunting, it can be frightening. People are worried about their jobs. And so from a people perspective, it's about training and development as well. So overall, as a long answer to a simple question, but board level first and foremost, IT, HR, and finance all play a key part.
Brilliant, thank you. Paul, how can payment technology help operators to embrace the transition to net zero?
Yeah, I think payment technologies are a pivotal part of how we move towards a more sustainable future. And when you look at how access to fuel, access to EV is going to roll out, it's going to need the facilitation through access through the driver. So when you look at what happened maybe from an EV standpoint, really good example, there was that chicken and egg situation which has been talked about today, where kind of you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the vehicles, maybe you don't have the financial support, and all of those things are quite challenging. What payment technologies can bring to the evolution to net zero is the aggregation of different types of fueling solutions, and give operators the ability to access different fuel, but also control and measure different fuel types as well. So it's a really important part of the value proposition. And when you look at what happens either through the development of vehicles, through the evolution of use cases and how you might deploy it, being able to give the driver some access to be able to pay for this stuff is pretty critical. And I think that's where payment technologies comes in.
Thank you. So, Helen, going back to IQ, it integrates the customer and the suppliers. What benefits and challenges have you faced with working with both the customers and the subcontracted logistics providers?
So the top line benefit for customers is the results of the optimization and collaboration in terms of saving money and reducing carbon to meet net zero commitments. I think in addition for customers, there's an increased cash flow or speeded up cash flow in terms of if you receive a clean POD back using the driver mobile app, you can invoice your customers more quickly. And in the same way, we can pay our haulier partners more quickly. So there is a speeding up of the cash cycle. I think hauliers are also able to get more work from us by being compliant and working with us. Instead of seeing a 3PL as a threat, in partnership, we can provide more work to our subcontract partners. So again, that's a real positive. In terms of the challenges, I think that the cultural shift to using mobile driver apps, whether it be for our core drivers or subcontractor drivers, the compliance required for this to work really well means that our drivers need to use the mobile apps and our haulier drivers need to use the haulier apps. There's a proliferation of apps out there. We're all looking for the same thing across a number of different technologies. So it's about working with the drivers, training the drivers with the unions to get the drivers to use the apps well. But then where a haulier has been asked to use a proliferation of apps, how we then use APIs to get that data back so that they're not having to use lots of different apps. So I'd say the biggest challenge is around the sort of proliferation of providers and getting drivers to use them well.
Thank you. So in the RHA, I look after part of the compliance team. So I'd be interested to hear what ways the digital tools can help operators stay compliant, especially ahead of compliance and regulatory requirements, without adding admin into the system.
Yeah, I think technology has a big role to play here. The first I wanted to say that we need to ensure that fleet operators get rid of this manual task, paperwork, and which is ultimately leading to the downtime. So one of the key example is the current regulation which is active in UK, which is for brake testing for 4 times by the VSA, that fleets need to really go 4 times in a year to do the brake testing. Now this is where we are providing today electronics braking performance system monitoring based on the trailer EBS data, which is looking at it, which is a proactive system where fleet operators can really monitor that, and they get a clear indication what is the exact time we need to go for checking, which really reduces the frequency of sending the vehicles for this testing, which is reducing the downtime. So this is one very concrete example where technology can come into the picture, which is you need to stay in compliance, but also without taking any risk, without making the more downtime. Second part of the things, I believe that technology should really prepare the fleet for any upcoming regulations and making sure they are not into the panic state that what's going to happen, what are the things, and make an informed decision. Of course, we know that carbon footprint reduction is one of the key areas. Every HGV players are really looking for it. And there are quite a few regulations are changing and new regulations are coming in. So that's how I think one of the areas that we are working on is to making a comprehensive platform where not only you are aware of your current CO2 emission details, but it also give you your full insight of your operations where you can look at it. And also during the electrification of your fleets, it is a very complicated ecosystem today. We have a clear electrification and collaboration platform where all partners are joining together to help the fleet managers to take the right decision. So overall, technology has a big role to play in compliance. First is to really getting rid of today's manual paperwork, less productive work and reducing downtime, and also really helping them to prepare for the upcoming regulations, what is really going to impact their operation.
Brilliant, thank you. And Paul, how can payment technology give operators a better visibility and control over their fuel spend?
Yeah, I mean, payment technologies exist within the transport and logistics environment to provide control. And going back, some 50 years, kind of the introduction of fuel cards was very much around, controlling what people bought and where people bought. And as technology has advanced and networks have become real-time, merchants are real-time, I think payment companies play a pivotal role in between the driver, the merchant, and the fleet manager. So you can make much more proactive decisions in control at that particular time, whether that be about where people buy, whether it be fuel, EV charging or whatever, how much they buy, when they buy. So you've got control over the driver to a level that you've never had before. And through Corpay's Key for Your Business, we have a product called Control Max, which enables you to do that dynamically. So I think there's things like that which are super helpful in terms of controlling the front end of what happens. I think then as you go kind of further from a data standpoint, as we heard today, data capture is critical, and I think we play a really important role in capturing data and providing that to other stakeholders within the industry. And that could be people like Webfleet, who can actually take that data and use that to inform other key efficiency kind of strategies, as Adrian mentioned earlier on, around fuel savings and kind of could be driver incentives, vehicle replacement policies and so forth. So lots and lots of angles, which I think payment technology feeds into the ecosystem. But it's only with working with other people, I think you get the real benefit.
Brilliant, thank you. Adrian, what is AI about? Is it a money-saving exercise? Is it growth? Is it...
Yeah, great question. I think it's both. You know, it may be stating the obvious, but I think first and foremost, most people view it as cost saving. And that's probably the lower hanging fruit, where you can see tangible results quite quickly. A well-publicized case study was GXO, and they used route optimization. And what they found is that from just one depot, when they put effectively sat-nav on steroids, they put all their data into it to identify best routes, warehouse readiness, and what they'd actually achieved in just 12 months was £925,000. £925,000 of, 925,000 kilometres saved from one depot. That also gave them 250,000 litres of fuel saved and 720 tonnes of carbon emissions. Now that's GXO. The technology's now available for everyone. So it's now available at an entry price where previously AI was really only for the big enterprise players. So I think that is one example of cost saving. When you look at revenue and growth in particular, there's some really interesting dynamics of what AI can do. So McKinsey did a report and found that 65% of companies improve their SLAs significantly by putting in AI to automate a lot of processes in their customer engagement. What that enabled these companies to do was win incremental business that built trust with their customers and entitled and right to go and win more business. And some of the things what we also have seen about creating new revenue streams was actually the insight AI gives you as an operator, to be able to sell the insight about your customers' demand for how much products are being shipped, what products are being shipped and when, and why are they being used. That insight that you will now have, you can monetize that as well. So I think, just to summarize that, Aaron, I think there is definitely immediate cost savings that are readily available. I think the ideas of creating new revenue streams is the stuff that makes it really interesting.
So Helen, from an operator's view, how difficult was it to bring in the IQ system? And I know it focuses on a lot of the transport planners, and what developments has there been in that of what is their role going to be? How is it changing? How is it adapting?
So I think with digitized systems, as you say, it brings a certain amount of fear, and it takes a little while for people to sort of pick up the new ways of working, and it tends to bring a certain centralisation to the work. So you're right, people's work changes. It's less about the grunt work, doing the same things every day, but it becomes more about using the insight to do something better next time. So we've invested in a lot of training and development for those teams, really trying to get under the skin of how they do what they do, and getting their input into what the next developments for the system are and what they're going to do differently. So there's been a really robust change management process, training and development, but also giving them a great facility to work in. So as we've centralised, we've been able to take people out of the sort of, some of the dingier porter cabins, transport offices that we'd all recognise, really create some really great facilities for people to work in. So really sort of looked at the whole role, the training and development, and the actual environment in which they work, as well as how they access the technology.
Thank you. So obviously we've got the Senior Traffic Commissioner in the room, and myself coming from an engineering background. How can tech improve the maintenance routines and reduce downtime to improve the safety of the fleet?
Yeah. I think today morning we heard that a lot of people are even struggling with the maintenance people, right, to do these things. But I feel the first area that we need to really, technology can help, is the scheduled maintenance part. If you look at normal fleet operators, how many variations they have. They have trucks from Daimler, they have trucks from Volvo, they have trucks from different OEMs. They have a mixed fleet, LCVs. They're buying tires from different providers. They have different maintenance in-house shops or third-party shops. Now, even to schedule the standard maintenance parts, there are a lot of manual steps involved in it for scheduling appointment. There are many cases this is overdue because they have not taken the actions correctly. So I feel the first point of our technology that we should really use it to ensure that a fleet can really look at all the assets in the maintenance area, which can easily guide them to complete the scheduled maintenance activities, automating the process of booking and making the appointment with the workshops, so that these process of the events can happen seamlessly without any downtime over there. So that this planning could be much better and much efficient. That's the first step. And that's how within Webfleet, we have also launched a new maintenance platform to really combine these all solutions together, which looks at the tire, which looks at the asset, which looks at the vehicles, and you will be able to allow this and schedule this appointment much faster. The second part, which is we have been working quite a long time, and every industry is looking at it, which is predictive maintenance. Now, I think it's a very ambitious goal. It's not in Holy Grail right now. Tons of data has been acquired or captured, and then we need to apply these machine learning algorithms to really predict, let's say, engine failures, let's say oil filter failures. And this could be a game changer if it is really comes into life. It is not, I'm not saying it is not live. It is there, but in the pockets. There are very specialized companies are able to provide today, like battery analytics, oil filter changes, engine failures there. But I think we need more of a holistic solution over there for the fleet to really understand it, that when exactly these vehicles are more prone for failures, and we can identify them, have a scheduled appointment or maintenance there, so that actual downtimes and the money could be saved over there. So this has a huge role to play. The first area, I believe that it is within our reach. There are tools, as Adrian also mentioned, how generative AI is coming into this space could help in a shorter term. But in the longer term, we also need to really focus on these predictive maintenance areas based on the telematics data or connected vehicle data to mature these solutions to help both sides for the fleet operators.
Thanks. Paul, how can payment technology help people adapt to the challenges of electric vehicles in our sector?
Yeah, I don't think it's just about electric vehicles. I think it's about all kinds of future fuels and alternative fuels. And I think as everybody's, or most people are kind of thinking, the future is likely to be an array of different kind of fuel types rather than just one particular solution. And with that becomes challenges. And again, I refer back to what's happened within the electric vehicle car space, where the complexities of running EV cars is much greater than just filling up with petrol or diesel. And fleet managers have had to overcome that problem. And through one of our brands, All-Star, we've worked very closely to try and kind of help people understand where EVs work and where they don't work. And I think that's going to be quite an important part with the transition to EHGVs and any other type of fuel. It's like what fuel works in what application. So I think we can certainly inform data to make those decisions. I think some of the other things we can do is really help support analysis of total cost of ownership and the operational practicalities and realities of making that switch. So because of the data and the fact that we kind of bring together the driver and the vehicle requirements into the aggregated view of the fleet, I think is quite a critical role. But it's not going to be easy, and I think really working hand in hand in partnership through those kind of steps will be the best way to get the answer in environments like today.
Okay, Helen, on Wincanton's decarbonisation, how's IQ going to support that and what do you see going forward?
Yeah, so on the alternative fuels piece, we're working with various alternative fuels and taking part in the Z-Head programme to learn how to use EVs more in anger, I guess, in the future. And we accept that although we're doing what we're doing now, the sort of more widespread adoption of alternative fuels is a few years away in terms of cost and infrastructure. However, our view and our approach and strategy is that whilst we're doing that, we also then need to get fit for that. And by reducing the amount of resources that we're using now, optimising what we've got, it will make that future transition easier. 1 in 3 vehicles potentially would pass on the motorways empty. That's wrong. We are working to, as I say, get fit for the future so that when more wholesale transition comes, we should need to transition less resources, and it should be a little easier for us to do that, whilst at the same time we're learning how to use them, as you say, where we use them most effectively, what the best mix is. So there is a role to play in that as we learn.
Thank you. And one final question, which will be pitched to everyone, is what would you say to an operator who may be wondering how to embrace new technologies, and where would they start with the emerging technologies that are coming in?
Shall I go first? Right, great. AI is a bit daunting, isn't it? It's about where do you start? And I wouldn't start with technology at all. I would think about the key business problem you're facing that's recurring, happening all time and time again, and really focus on getting a clear, compelling ROI that can demonstrate the great investment. And technology now is a price where it's a couple of £1,000s to start. And for me, getting people behind it, training your people, because AI is so new, it needs leadership from this room to show the way with your teams as well. And once you've actually started the program, scale fast, fail quickly as well, and have a really compelling ROI to do that investment to go bigger and better. So start with the business problem first.
Yeah. I will absolutely second you on that. That technology is an enabler. Business needs to make the final decision that how exactly they are going to use it. And also very importantly, based on our observations so far with this AI journey, that people also plays a very important role. Most of the project gets stuck in the proof of concept phase because the people who are going to actually use this AI tool, they are not well trained enough, so they give up. So this is also an important aspect for these companies, that if you really wanted to change and bring new AI solution, you need to also invest on training the people who are actually going to use it on a day-to-day basis so that they feel comfortable and they are also empowered to make the decisions on their behalf.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, environments like today, being in the industry, talking to your peers, really understanding what the art of the possible is so critical. And kudos to the RHA for bringing the event together today, because I think it's a fantastic opportunity for everybody to kind of network and understand more. Secondly, I don't know about you guys, we're in the middle of our budget process, and we've got about 150 AI projects that have been put forward on the slate. And the reality is we can't do everything. So, I think back to Adrian's point about the business case, the focus is so key. So really understand where you can move the dial, where you can really add some value to the organisation and double down in one or two particular areas.
Helen?
Yeah, similar sort of start small, think big. The other thing that we do a lot of at Wincanton is work with startups. So one of the issues that we have is the lack of skills and lack of access to skill set in the market, which is becoming quite challenging. I think sometimes working with startups, that really helps us, because as much as they've got the ideas and the ability to bring those ideas into reality, they haven't got an operational test bed. So as a large organisation, we can provide the operational test bed, provide mentoring, and we found that that's been a really great way of actually finding a technology that does give us a business benefit, but actually being able to work together to give them the test bed and us learn from their resources and to partner that way quickly. If it doesn't work, you give up and you do something else. So it's as well as small and think big, it's if it's failing, stop and do something else, I think is what we've learned.
Brilliant. Thank you. I think that concludes our panel discussion. Thank you for taking the time. And